forgot what this was called.
It was the eyes of...
I'm so confused. All right, I'm ready to go now. Okay.
All right, great.
Welcome to Knock Your Socks Off. I'm Ravi, joined by Hannah.
Hey.
Hannah, what are you knocking my socks off with today?
All right, so podcasts are not new these days. The people know that going into a podcast, we're planning things, we're preparing for some things. I'm going to say that our podcast today, what I'm knocking your socks off with, is something we have discussed on the outside, if you will, from the podcast world. But we're bringing it in here today to discuss Ravi's distaste of Ryan Reynolds, because we have many projects coming from Ryan Reynolds and the world of
Ryan Reynolds
and all of it. And so we're here to talk about the summer of Ryan Reynolds and your takes on it. Are you ready?
Sure. Super ready. Super ready.
Super pumped to talk about something he doesn't like. So
it's not that I don't like. I think we should also preface that.
Okay, go ahead.
It's not that I don't like Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. I'm just tired of Ryan Reynolds. I'm not seeing enough of variety of Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, even of him?
Like, if I'm going to be shown a lot of Ryan Reynolds projects, have some kind of like diversity in them. And I know that, come from me in the comments, if you will, saying, oh, the character of Deadpool from what he's doing Wrexham is different. And I'll say, no, it's not. It's the same thing. Some guy being goofy with humor, getting a point across. And it's that Ryan Reynolds humor, and that's it. There's no difference to me from Ryan Reynolds, the club owner, and Deadpool, the character.
Great. So we're just giving Ravi a good platform today to share his thoughts with the world.
Bitch and moan.
And here we go. Starting off with, the list of where we are going into the summer of Ryan Reynolds, which is, like you had noted, the new season of Wrexham is they're doing a week by week, but of the Wrexham Football Club, and with even that's in partnership with Rob McElhenney. But then he's also currently has a film out called If, which is the Imaginary Friends film written and directed by John Krasinski. Many a name in that film, but like very much featured Ryan Reynolds as the live actor portrayal. And finally, Deadpool 3 coming in July. So we have these to work through, if you will, and kind of get some fun takes of yours on them as we do. What are your initial, for the sake of, I hear you want more variety, all the things, but if you were to look forward to any of them, are there any you're looking forward to?
I mean, I'm a huge nerd, so obviously Deadpool. And that's the other thing, too. Is like, I will go see Deadpool.
Sure.
I will probably go, oh, more Ryan Reynolds quips and jokes. Ha! So original.
Yes.
Yay. And again, I mean, I'm going to go see that film not because of Ryan Reynolds, but because it ties in the MCU. And this is the first Deadpool film that's being produced by Marvel under the Disney banner, because 20th Century Fox was bought by Disney a couple of years ago. So like that is my main reason for going. It is not because of Ryan Reynolds. I used to like the Deadpool character. I did legitimately like the Deadpool character.
Like in Deadpool 1 or just like in the comics?
As in the comics. Like the older comics when it was first introduced, also, the Deadpool character has been shown up in multiple animated Marvel shows. There was a Spider-Man one in like the 2010s, and he was in there for a couple one. It was great. Yeah. Like, I think the character is fucking hilarious. It's just that the lines between Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds are now so blurred. I don't even know if Ryan Reynolds knows where he starts and Deadpool begins, and vice versa.
Where is the suit on or off at all times?
I think it's on all the time.
That's fair.
Which is like, it's like a Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man. And like, I think Robert Downey Jr., yes, granted, he did not do the best thing. Well, I think he did the right thing where he was like, I'm done with the character, and he wanted to try other projects. Sure. And yes, they were definitely out there. They weren't all the best, but he's got a couple, like he's got a new HB or new Max series about the CIA in I think in Vietnam, and he plays this kind of kooky CIA guy or whatever. Sure, right. And like, he's trying different things. Yeah. Like, he's not just the Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man persona. Yeah. And it's like Reynolds is like stuck in it. Yeah. And I get he's a businessman. I get that is how he is selling Wrexham. That is how he's making money off of that. This movie coming out it's all tied into the big machine of making them money. But it's like, okay, great.
100%. And I mean, the actor that I think of who could have easily, in a sense, held an IP the rest of his life is Daniel Radcliffe, who is Harry Potter to many of us. In the essence of many of those actors, I mean, even Lord of the Rings actors, Elijah Wood, right?
Elijah Wood.
All of a sudden, I was like, oh my god, briefly freaked out. They could have, and in many ways, Elijah Wood does hold on to his Lord of the Rings fame, doing cons and whatnot a lot. But Daniel Radcliffe is somebody who could have also just like held Harry Potter as long as he did. Now, granted, his money and fame will come in way longer than any Deadpool money would come in my opinion, that as a Harry Potter.
As a pothead?
Nerd. But the space of like the boldness and bravery it does take, yes, to step out of your character and really know where that line begins and ends, and to take projects that probably won't do well. I mean, Daniel Radcliffe has like done many projects that have done well since, but in the essence of quantity, he's also just done projects in some version or some view of ours being for shits and giggles or for creative process and enjoyment. You know what I mean? But he still does put interesting things out, and there's a space where it does take bravery to expand past your claim to fame, and Reynolds is writing his in a unique way.
And that's the thing. Reynolds has done, like, he is no newbie to Hollywood. He has been doing this since the 90s.
Yeah.
He has been making movies, commercials for a very long time. The thing with Reynolds is, like, he used to be an actor that, like, did interesting projects. And no, I am not saying Detective Pikachu. I think he did a great fucking job as Detective Pikachu.
Sure.
And I think he does for the most part. I prefer, and this isn't to say I think he's like an ugly, he's a very attractive man. He's very, very beautiful. He knows how to keep it in check. But like, he is an amazing voice actor. I get that's why, like, as the Deadpool character, it works so well, etc. But like with Detective Pikachu, though, like, he knocked that shit out of the park. Like, he portrayed this character who then is actually the father. Spoilers. Like, he did a really, really good job with that character.
Yeah.
But he has done like weird shit. Like, he did this movie in 2010 called Buried.
Okay.
It is a movie that if you are claustrophobic, you should never watch. It makes you feel so intense. You're sweating throughout the entire thing. It is a film that takes place where he is buried alive.
Sure.
And he has a singular cell phone, and you do not leave the space at all with him. And it's just you and Ryan Reynolds buried underground for 90 minutes or however long it is, and it is fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah.
The dude can, and that's the other thing that's so fucking annoying.
Right.
He can act.
Yes.
He knows how to act.
Yes.
And it's just that he keeps doing the same, like,
bits
and character, and it's like, bro, just like go do something different. Like, go be in a weird, like, surprise everybody. Like, I know he has a big thing with FX. Like,
sure,
go be in season 2 of Shogun. Go make something unique and original that's not a big and heavy IP. Like, he could do it, and I would be way more like interested in it than like, oh, I'm in Deadpool. Oh, I'm in this imaginary thingamajiggy.
I mean, we'll get into kind of like, we'll walk through Wrexham, If, and Deadpool as we kind of go, but the space of, not having to, we don't have to compare all the people all the time, but, kind of we do for the sake of these, a lot of these actor men are in similar waves. And the essence of John Krasinski is, I think, an example of somebody who is doing some, he's putting his name in some different avenues, as we know. Obviously, I'm pretty sure anyway, he's also in If, or maybe he does the voice too, but we all know that he did Quiet Place. He's written and directed this If movie. There is spaces in my mind as well where it's like the people like the John Krasinskis or the Ryan Reynolds could also go into EP roles, or kind of go into spaces where they could also give other people the talent and the, use their platform or use their, space to also let other jokes, other bits, other like creative ventures like live through the means that they have, rather than also like needing the spotlight for all the whole time. So
yeah, like Jordan Peele's a really good one where he got really big on Key and Peele, and then he ventured into directing, and then he's doing a lot of producing, like that new Dev Patel Monkey Man. He was a big producer on it, and again, like to your point, like expand the thing. Like Krasinski, I think, is a really interesting guy where he was Jim Halpert. And he
is basically
he
still
is, but he's done a really good job of like getting out of that space. Like he was in that that movie regarding Benghazi, the incident that happened in the later 2000s. Like he played a Marine in that film, and it's a serious, very serious, thriller action film. And again, he did a really, really good job. Like, it's not a comedy piece. There's no haha jokes because that's based on like real life events.
Right.
And then, like you said, like A Quiet Place, like that. Great fucking film.
Yeah,
very
and like
surprising.
very left field. Very, you wouldn't. I mean, it's similar with Jordan Peele for the sake of having gone into, or us having known him growing up or whatnot, in doing like pure sketch comedy. Is the space, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what is this new film he's putting out? Like, wait, what is Get Out going to be about? I'm so confused.
I recently
or
did
whatever,
I did a full rewatch of Key and Peele, and like the later seasons, they have like some really fucked up, dark comedy sketches, and it's like when you realize, you're like, oh, it's always been there. Like,
totally,
dude's a big horror guy. So
yeah. They these actors hold levels, and we know that Ryan Reynolds has levels, and so we're just asking for that back, if you will, or something. But like the space of this summer, it sounds like, seems like we're going to be getting some pretty similar beats as we go through. So let's get into the beats and the beef, shall we? Ooh.
Beats,
beef, Battlestar Galactica.
Well, no, that's not. It's Beats
Bears.
Battlestar Galactica. That's it.
Shout out to The Office, Krasinski. But we're going to walk. So through first is going through Wrexham. And so did you watch season 1? Yes.
I did watch season 1.
Did not watch season 2.
I've not watched season 2.
And then season 3 is what's out or coming out at the moment.
Right.
Now it is interesting because you can find it is a documentary. You can find essentially all the answers to the show. Obviously the spins and the different angles and people stories that the show tells, that isn't just associated with Wrexham Football Club, are different too. But you have zero desire to watch season 3.
So season 1, and again, it just goes back to like this age-old thing where it's like you have to give a show, you have to give a show the first couple episodes, you have to give a show the first season. That's not how it should work. Like, if it doesn't catch you in the first couple episodes or the first season, then it's okay. Then I'm not going to go back. And like season 1 of Wrexham didn't capture my attention at all. Like I thought the concepts were super cool. Yeah. And like the idea that like, yes, we are being led into this nobody club in Wrexham in Wales. Like for the most part, they when the first season came out, there were nobody. They only became somebody because of Rob and Ryan. And just, I totally understand that's the through line. But that season was just so much of them and so much of their annoying like narration that it got like very annoying. Where it's like, can you two just shut up? Yeah, I'm interested. Like you pulled me in. Great. Now I want to hear more about the club. I want to hear more about the town. I want to hear more about these things and concepts within soccer, within Europe and everything that I'm not familiar with. And there was just too much of them. And because of that, like, I can't be bothered to get into season 2 or the current season. Okay, there you go. I will say, so I'm a fan of Wrexham, I will say. I've watched season 2 and I'm currently watching season 3. I'm not fully caught up yet, but being a fan of, like, sports films, sports stories, I think there's a space where it really, I mean, as we've, discussed on prior pods as well, sports is entertainment. So there's also a space where they're telling human stories, they're telling the players stories, but also giving some history, giving some, things on the town. But it still has 100%. The through line is still, you're getting the talking heads from Ryan and Rob, and you're getting both their celebrations as well as their, not like sob stories, because I think what I do enjoy is that, which is Ryan Reynolds humor, but is this like self-awareness humor that still allows for criticism of themselves and criticism of the fact that they know that they're two Hollywood white guys coming into a town that they just want to lift up the town, and they don't just want to lift themselves up, but they also know that they have to lift themselves up / like their egos want to, there's this weird cycle of all the things. So that is still there, and it still is the through line. But I will say season 2, one of the things I super loved was they did, I think, maybe 3 episodes out of the season, and then they're already doing some now as well, of like highlighting the Wrexham like women's team and stuff like that. So they're telling different stories. They're not just telling stories on the town. They're also telling further. They're definitely getting further into the athletes' stories, but including like the women's organization, which is really sweet, and definitely very intentional for their storylines. Right. So while I would tell you to watch, I would recommend Wrexham because I think it's fun. And definitely maybe if you do have any beef or whatnot with the Rob and Ryan essence, you could easily kind of like, it could be
a show you can like dip your toe in and out. You know what I mean? Like it might not be one you like sit and watch with your whole family. Like we gotta watch this and like invest in it. But like I think there is a space where it's like a fun space to kind of to see how they tell the story. Even though if you're on Twitter or follow Rob or Ryan as I do, like where the show is going.
What's happening.
I know what's happening and where they're going, and the fact that they're renewed for season 4, all kinds of stuff. But like there's a space where it still is fun to like see how they tell the story basically. Sure. But it's 100% including Ryan and Rob humor. And the one last thing I'll say on the Wrexham piece before going forward to is I'm a fan enough of Ryan Reynolds for sure, but I am a bigger fan of Rob McElhenney. And so one of the things that I also like always stay attuned for, there was a fun part of season 2 where he brought all his Sunny guys in to a game or whatnot, and it was like a really fun episode. But I'm highly just invested in making sure that Rob McElhenney gives us a new season of Sunny as soon as possible.
Well, I mean,
so that's where I'm at with Wrexham as well.
Danny DeVito did say on a recent interview that the 17th season, I believe it is, will be even more outlandish than the prior 16 seasons. So
did he say it's coming this fall or they're shooting this fall?
He says coming this fall.
Come on. Well, honestly, I think I've heard, because I love their podcast, and I think they said they literally shoot for like maybe 8 weeks for an entire, like they just like shoot the shit so fast. Like, and I've heard their set is one of the fastest sets for a work day. Like it's like one of the fastest sets, which
makes sense because we, the time that this podcast drops, the upfronts have already occurred. Yeah. So that is where those things and announcements would be made and deals and all that fun stuff made. So who knows? But I'd say, check out Wrexham if you want to, but know that the humor is still going to be there. And but I will say season 3 so far is less Rob and Ryan. It's hopefully they're getting a little bit less and they're still focusing on the let me ask you this question, because one of the things I remember from the first season, and I apologize, like I do not remember the player names because it has been so long since I saw the first season. But like one of the more interesting things was like following the players and like having the players become the kind of like narrators and the focus of the story. Like, are we still focusing on players? Are there even any players from the first season? Because that's one of the other things that when watching the show that you have like, you have to realize is like, they went from, I don't even remember the league numbers and rankings, but they went from like a lower league. They're almost at Premier League status, which means you're getting Premier League player types in there, which also come with like bigger egos and things. And typically they're usually more media savvy. Is there anyone from the first season on the team still there, or they're completely all gone? There
are. I mean, they being Rob and Ryan and whatever the documentarians are very transparent of the fact that yes, these guys are bringing in more money for the team. They're still not at Premier League. They're definitely, I think they're still 3 leagues under Premier in a sense. But they have been like, getting guys from like the champion leagues and all these things. So they are able to, essentially like buy out guys to come down, but there are still like local Wrexham guys on the team. And definitely like players from season 1, if you will, still on the team, but the coaches from season 1 is still with the club, and you're kind of seeing them invest, like even though they definitely, there's no.
Wait, so the coach from season 1 is still there?
That they brought in. It's not the Wrexham. It's not the original.
No,
Wrexham
but the one they brought in at least. Yeah. Oh, that's good that they've lasted that long.
Yeah, it definitely seems that they're, in a sense, back house team or whatnot of trainers and all that stuff, like have been with the guys for these 3 going on 4 years now or whatever. So while I will say they did create essentially a new team or whatnot, or this new amalgamation of a team in season 1 of Welcome to Wrexham, they have, I would say there have been a few players in and out, but like consistently that team is where they've been. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So. And
the guy who was a writer for Mythic Quest, is he still like there running things?
He's the president still. Yeah. He was not even just the writer, but he's an actor on Mythic Quest too, but he's still the president of the fucking club. Yeah. He's on there too. He's great. Wild. I know. So they have their little family
for that.
Well, he's English.
But but at the same time, you're still approving your life to run a fucking soccer club.
Totally. No, it's fair.
Or, football club.
Totally. If Megan Gans ever watches this, I just love you, Megan. That's his wife, and she's incredible. So she also put a lot of work in for Wrexham, so good for her.
Wait, she's the one that does the producing for the pod, right, for Sunny?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she writes. She's the showrunner of Mythic Quest, and she's a writer on Sunny.
Wow, so they really take their crews and
it's
make
a family, 100%.
Work and everything.
They do. They keep them booked and busy.
I mean, being busy is good. Yes,
It is.
That makes sense.
It is. So, anyway, now that's Wrexham. We'll close that little chapter. On to If. My question to you is If I know
Is if
as
if.
Ryan as if
Mhm.
is if a Ryan Reynolds project or an Office reunion in your opinion? Because I would say the press I've seen, largely Ryan Reynolds is a part of it, but there's also a lot of the John Krasinski, Steve Carell blending storylines.
That's tricky, to be honest, because I think it depends on who you talk to, and
Fair.
you know, if 20th Century Fox.
Oh, that I actually don't not know.
I forget who it is, but
Yeah.
I think it's going to depend on who they're marketing towards
Sure,
and
sure.
who they're showing. So, like Steve Carell, he's the voice of the big purple thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's called
Friend,
Purple
the
Thing.
If, the imaginary friend.
And he was on Stephen Colbert late night show, and that was heavily focused on like office stuff.
Yes.
Because it was also around when it was announced that Peacock was greenlighting a Office spinoff. So I think it really just depends on who, whatever the headline, whatever the grab is, right?
Yeah.
Red carpet stuff, I think, is definitely a lot of focus on any of those three.
Sure.
So
Sure.
again, whatever media outlet is there looking will shift their focus. I mean, the thing with that film is like there's just so much connection to other projects, other things going on, which makes it just feel like it's a giant advert for other stuff,
I hear
right?
you. That's
Which
fair.
makes it
That's
like,
fair.
which is where it's funny, where it's like the movie from a critic standpoint. At the taping of this pod, it sits at 54% on Rotten Tomatoes
critics,
for
yeah.
the critics, and you know. Great, it's a good marketing tool for other projects and things, but it's like at the end of the day, if it's not a good project, then it's just not a good thing.
Fair.
So.
And I mean, for the sake of that, even on the If, Instagram or something, they literally did a promo spot with Wrexham with Wrexham footballers to talk about their imaginary friends growing up. So it's really, there is a lot of the crossover, and it's a hot take.
Well, I mean,
So-
like a lot of the press red carpet stuff I saw was people asking like Reynolds Deadpool questions.
Yeah, like
It was a lot of people asking Krasinski Office questions, you know. So
yeah. So who knows? Time will tell. The movie is out now.
okay,
but
can I play the cynical card?
go ahead. That's what
That
we're
means
here for.
creativity is like dead. That means like we've said for a long time that all Hollywood does is rehash new projects. But now we have you could argue If is an original idea story.
Sure.
Which it sounds like it is. It's from the mind of Krasinski.
Yeah.
But then it's like all you're getting from the behind the scenes is like connection pieces to other projects
Sure.
that we've. Oh, it's so annoying. No, I'm not gonna watch If that's the next
You
question.
don't have to, I wasn't gonna ask you.
Okay,
That
good.
wasn't where we're going
Good,
with
good.
it, and I'm not gonna make you watch Wrexham either. So
good.
don't worry, we're not gonna do follow-ups and see if Ravi has attended any.
I think
Ryan
I'm just
Reynolds
gonna start
things.
watching the Japanese news channels
Oh sure,
because
That's
they
the
do
answer.
it. Yeah, just
Great.
something completely out there.
why not? Yeah, just when you don't want to go right, just go left. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the essence of Deadpool being rated R and If being rated PG,
Right.
and for sure Wrexham is very family friendly or whatnot, I can think of a small handful of people doing the rated R and rated PG like ability. You're talking about range earlier for Ryan, but I can think of like a Dwayne The Rock Johnson and a Kevin Hart are really quick to do both rated R and PG projects, sometimes in the same year, and just kind of see where they land or whatnot, put things out.
Yeah.
Are the Dwayne Johnsons, is the Kevin Harts, is the Ryan Reynolds, is that good company to keep? What are your thoughts in the acting world? Not that you have to be an actor to know that, but like, what are your thoughts? Like,
I am an actor. I act like I care.
there you go.
When you say like keep company, like Ryan and The Rock being friends type
No,
company,
just
or
as in they're two examples of actors pursuing a version of range in order, obviously, to get audience attendance. You know what I mean?
So let me present the Star Wars Disney conundrum.
Oh, okay.
It's something you had said a while ago.
Okay.
I don't know if we got it on pod, but you had said like, and it's not, you haven't just said it, like a lot of people have said
Sure,
this,
sure,
you
sure.
know? And it's a Marvel problem too.
Okay.
Where you have so much content coming out.
Yeah.
You do not care about all the content and it all blends together and it just feels like the same shit with a different title and a different month that it comes out. I think that 1,000% goes for actors as well. When you do when the actors are oversaturated where they're in every single freaking project or the same character over and over again in like different little cameos and things, same idea. I stop caring about said actor or actress because it's just nonstop the same stuff. So no, it is not good company to be in.
Right, like just don't do it.
Take a beat. Go do something else. Go out to the desert and sit in a fucking circle thing and be quiet for a year.
Right. In a sense, let people miss you. You know what I mean? Let people want more Ryan Reynolds, or let people, be like, where the fuck did The Rock go? Like, that would be a wild thing. That'd be a wild thing.
I get like people that love to work. I respect that.
Sure.
But like if you're an actor and you're like, well, I just love being on set. Go be a grip then.
Sure.
Go learn how lighting works.
Sure.
Go be a PA.
Sure.
Go do craft services. There are other aspects of the filmmaking industry that you can go and do that doesn't require your face on camera. If you need to be on camera, you have other problems, and I would suggest therapy.
We would suggest therapy at large.
Yeah. I say this being someone that has multiple podcasts. So. And I know I have a problem. I know for a fact so it's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, but we shout out therapy as people want to do it.
Yes.
Not to do the worst transition ever, but there's if. Now we'll dive into Deadpool. Do you think Deadpool will save Marvel Cinematic Universe? 3, 2, 1, go.
I don't think it will. I think Marvel already saved it. I think the groundwork's already been put in, and I think it was announced again at the upfronts that I've already occurred during the time of this pod. They've split their content Marvel Studios division to 3 branches: Marvel Studios, Marvel Television, Marvel Animation. And the key thing here is that the stories will no longer be part of a connected universe.
Okay.
The animation side, like What If, are just like these fun What If stories. They just rebooted or continued the X-Men animated show from the 90s, calling it X-Men 97. Has literally nothing to do with if you see Deadpool whenever it comes out, or if you knew what happened at the events of Marvel Avengers Endgame.
Okay.
And I think by doing this, it helps with the idea of oversaturation.
Okay.
Because now we can just go back to watching 1 or 2 movies a year and feeling like we know what's going on.
So then do you think that Deadpool is going to get the Blue Beetle treatment and just essentially be a wash?
No, it's still going to make a boku amount of money, like crap tons. And I think people will like praise it as like this great, amazing thing.
Okay.
But I would not say that it's the thing that saves Marvel.
Okay.
Marvel is a corporation.
Sure.
It's already taken steps to save itself.
Sure.
So.
Sure. And I say I bring up Blue Beetle as a fan of Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Was a great film, I thought, last year. But I'm very bummed that it didn't, in a sense, kind of not only get the viewership or the butts and seats, but also, was kind of in this transitionary period for DC. I feel like it also did not get the time of day that it could have. And so I hope, and in a sense, I hope that Deadpool doesn't do that. I do hope that there's another Blue Beetle for sure. But I also, I wonder, if Marvel is in, because of the upfronts, if they're in some version of a transitionary period where they're like, it doesn't have to be connected, whatever. And it feels from the trailers anyway, that Deadpool is very actively pretty much solely trying to braid together Fox and X-Men with it. So it's it sounds like they're gripping to that. And then if it's well, now we don't have to stay connected. That's what I mean by will it be a wash like Blue Beetle? Not because I hate it. I really liked Blue Beetle, and I really hope that Deadpool is good, but
I think it ties into the lore of Deadpool, where it's this character just jumping around doing his own thing between time, space, and the multiverse. And I think that's the key. That is what will make me love the movie.
Okay.
Is if it is just a zany fucking story.
All right.
Right? Where the focus is based on the trailers, the whole point of the story is redemption.
Right.
Specifically with the Wolverine character. Who the fuck knows what universe? Does it really fucking matter? Probably not. We're looking for a redemption story. A person that's beat down so badly, given an opportunity to help somebody else, be selfless, and we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
All the other crap that comes up where it's like that character in the background said that one line that connects. Great. Don't fucking care.
Right.
That's
From
so
there,
stupid.
Right. If that serves you or brings you joy, okay, great. But that does not make it required viewing for future or entire Marvel content.
Exactly.
Or world or whatever. So I hear you. That's fair. I mean, you know, we are both millennials, and so people like to say when people are Facebook or Instagram official, Deadpool in a sense is not the first project in Marvel to make the X-Men official in the MCU, but it's definitely, I think, going to have the most eyes on it for making them Facebook or Instagram official, if you will.
Sure.
And so
like that. That's a good analogy. That's good.
Because, you know, shout out to the Marvels that did also bring in the X-Men world, but the space of, you know, we do have some exciting and fun X-Men projects coming / are out. And so what is your take on X-Men 97 that just finished?
I think that's, again, that is where Marvel already is saving itself. Where it's like, okay, we did the whole Endgame thing. We did 10 years of a connected thing. We did it all through movies.
Sure.
We did not worry about these side projects. And that's the key. These little side things on streaming and television, you know, they are unfortunately kind of a distraction. Yeah. And you can still tell great stories, but again, the second that you like tell a creative person, this is a really good story, this like Echo, on the surface, it's a very interesting story. A character who is a Native American connected with like the spiritualness there and their powers and like their bringing and where they live in America, like very interesting fucking story. But the second when you're like, wow, how's it connect to the MCU? It's like, no,
right?
Like that's no longer that interesting. Like because then you're watching the show to be like, where is this on the time? Like then you miss the whole point of the story.
Totally.
So with X-Men 97, where it's like, well, we did this thing in the 90s and we have some cool ideas and stories and we're not like stuck down where we have to figure out how these X-Men are going to tie into the MCU. Yeah. They're free to like be creative and like create these cool and interesting stories. Yep. So as long as like you maintain that, like that should be the mantra going forward. It doesn't have to connect to the fucking MCU. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. So do you think the MCU is dead then?
No.
Or like, do you think things can still go forward in the 616 universe that
MCU
is?
And I think it 1,000% will. Okay. But like, again, make good stories. Make stories. Like I shit on Iron Man 3 all the fucking time because it is a very bad film. But like when you remove the expanded, like the idea of how it connects the expanded universe, it's a man going through hardcore PTSD.
1,000%.
I'm not saying that's an interesting and great story, but like it is a story that is worth definitely telling. It is something that, you know, you look through the eyes of Tony Stark and like how this character is growing as a character. 100%. And it makes it interesting.
It makes sense for Tony Stark. Like it does.
For Tony Stark,
for his character.
But the second you're like, how does it connect? We have to talk about the events and and we have to hit all these boxes. Then it's like, well, then it's a TV show. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And that's not cool.
No, for real. I hear you. Okay. Well, yeah, let's keep more projects like X-Men 97. And I mean, and even the ones like Echo or ones that, you know, can give us just like little pull apart storylines. Now, granted, Marvel put out so many of those, and they put out the She-Hulks, and they put out all these things that were,
you know, not
well, of course, but then not everyone was a hit or whatnot. But I hope that the freedom to not have to connect to the one timeline, I mean, which to me makes it more comics, which makes it more comic like that. We didn't have to read comics and think that it's only furthering one story the whole time. It was like, this person's out here doing this fucking shit, and then, you know, it's just that's what I think. If you're talking about like where the origin of these stories are coming from and their origin material, their source material, right, is comics. It's like, why why would we ever? I think I do love, you know, Iron Man 1 to the end game. Like I do love that arc, or even all the way to No Way Home. But the space of in the source material, if we're going back to that and we're actually finding the origins back to that, I think there's a lot of opportunity that could be really fun. So we'll see. I have two more thoughts, then we'll wrap this up. One of them, to close out the Ryan Reynolds piece for you, is that you had shared with me earlier that one of your summer drinks has to include, you're feeling the gin vibes, you're feeling it. So,
oh God,
Ravi, are you going to be including aviation gin in your summer drink?
I am by no means a spirits connoisseur.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you the notes on anything. I just know what tastes good and what doesn't taste good. Aviation gin is not the best gin in the world.
Okay.
I don't consider it top shelf by any means.
All right, sure.
I consider that like house level gin. So take that for whatever it means.
Sure.
But no, I will not be drinking more aviation gin.
All right, great. You're not going to be
My summer
you're
of
not
gin.
going to be doing no Ryan Reynolds content, but
No.
you'll be enjoying. All right,
Somehow
great. Consistency at least.
Bombay and was it beef? No beef.
Beefeater.
Tangerine.
Okay.
Those are some of like
Beefeater is super common.
yeah, super common, but like it tastes good.
Sure. Yeah. All right, my last take for Ryan Reynolds will be there's going to be a lot of Ryan Reynolds projects coming out this summer, this year. If I were to pitch one, I would say to have it be the summer of Ryan Gosling. And if you haven't seen Fall Guy yet, I highly recommend it. It was a lot of fun. And, you know, for those of us who are interested in the industry and not for being in the industry, but just the fact that the industry exists and how movies are made and why movies are made and, you know, knowing creative processes and knowing why massive, you know, studio corporations put things out when, why, where, you know, Fall Guy is a great one. So if you don't want to invest in the Ryan Reynolds piece, may I pitch to you the summer of Ryan Gosling and going and seeing Fall Guy. It's a fun one, and it won't take up as much energy as maybe your beef of Ryan Reynolds does at the time. But
to be fair, I put that beef on myself. So
you did. So
that's all my own fault.
It's been a good one, but yeah, I mean, there are fun things coming out this year and this summer that we'll keep talking about and chatting on. So thanks for your hot take.
Appreciate it.
And we're excited to see what you think about Deadpool when it happens.
For sure.
So yeah,
we'll probably put a social clip out or something, and that's about it. Which will be like,
that's it.
It was okay. It was a film.
Yeah, exactly.
Things happen.
Things happen.
As always, thank you for listening. You can find us on youtube.com/KYSO podcast. On TikTok, same handle, KYSO podcast.